Australia were 14 for 2, and then Tim David and Stoinis pressed that beast mode on, and they were just hitting sixes at will. The cameraman couldn't hold on and find out where the ball was because Tim David got 74 of 38. Stoinis getting 64 of 39. Matthew shot 26. Arshdeep got selected. He came in, picked up 3 wickets in his 4 overs. Varun Chakravarti getting 2. We're back at Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I've got Zach and Joyda in the house. Zach, Joyda, 14 for 2. We felt like, all right, maybe India's going to make what Australia did in the last game. But Tim David came out and had other plans.
Yeah, was the most destructive of them lot. He was looked very comfortable from the word go. I think, you know, the plan from Aussie batters looked like to really take advantage of spin bowling and really be looking to be positive and looking to put them under pressure.
Yes.
You know, and that is something which was a little concern which we're talking about. You know, Washington Sundar coming back in the playing 11 but having not bowled at all makes you wonder that, you know, maybe you need to be very clear in terms of if you're replacing a bowler and you're not giving him the bowl. So that is something, you know, which creates a little bit of questions. But Tim David was superb for Australia. I think, you know, he took the battle head on and was very successful. The partnership with Stoinis also was a very fruitful one. And on the whole, I think Australia will be very happy with this total. There was, in spite of Bumrah just going for 6 runs per over, they managed to score 186. I think it's a total which they will be happy with.
You know, Zach is being very polite when he said some questions will be asked. Zach, fans like myself and most on social media are not that polite because we'll get to the selection process and Washington not coming to bowl. But before that, just the destruction by Tim David, Joyda, striking at 195 almost. He's hit 5 sixes. 1 6, it said Ninja Stadium. He was going past that ninja. He was in that mode today.
I think the power he has, we all know. But, you know, we've always seen him as a finisher. And I think a couple of, you know, even Pat again in an interview is referring to this, that he was saying that we see him as somebody who can come in even further up the order. And I think you're seeing him more and more being used at 4 and 5, where he was normally 6 and 7. And he's really established himself in that position. Because what he gives is he's even better against spin. And therefore, he's destructive. The moment he started hitting Akshar Patel, because Akshar is the spinner we generally throw in the first 6 overs, we were on the back foot. And then always, you know, we were always under pressure till he was there. Once he went out, Stoinis has equal amount of power. So he hit 5 sixes, Stoinis hit 2 sixes. And that's really the base of that innings. Their ability to hit our spinners is what got them to 186.
Just brute power because there is Tim David. Of course, there's Head and Mitch Marsh that starts. The biceps keep getting bigger as that batting order goes down because then there was Stoinis who came out and we know what Stoinis can do. But besides the big hitting, Zach, 64 of 39, the 2 sixes there. But he was finding those gaps very well, using the pace very well as well today.
Yeah, I think, you know, he looked very comfortable from the word go. And looking at his dismissal in the previous game, you would at times think that the batter walking into bat will always be thinking like that, like, you know, slightly on the defensive. But modern day cricket, you've seen players adapt to these kind of situations very comfortably. And I think Tim David showed that today. The fact that he went into bat early helped. Before he could start playing spinners, he was already in his innings, facing the seamers, heading some boundaries. Gives you that momentum which you need after a bad innings. So I think, you know, Tim David is someone today. Australia will be very happy with the kind of responsibility he's shouldered, especially batting at number 4. Because if you have a conversation with Tim David, you know, he's someone who feels that he should be batting at number 4. You know, number 4 is a preferred slot. And when you get runs, you deliver at that position. It just gives you that comfort of cementing that position for you.
Joyda, I saw you looking up a whole lot of numbers in the Cricbuzz app.
Yeah, I was looking at the Cricbuzz app because it's a very funny. You see turning points of games. What is the turning point of this game? The turning point of this game is that sixth over that Bumrah is bowling. So why? You've taken a chance, you're giving him a third out here because you say 2 wickets down, if Bumrah gets me one more, I'm in the driver's seat. And then he gets the ball, he hits it straight to Washington Sundar. Washington Sundar puts it down.
At 20?
At that point, at 20, if Tim David goes, the gamble pays off. So that's my point, that as a captain, okay, Surya has taken a gamble saying that let me take the third over. Let me take the third over because very rarely do I have Australia 2 down. And I have that chance to do it. And I think these are the little things on which games completely change format. Because after that, if you see Tim David, till then he's been hitting. But after that, he goes totally berserk.
He just opened up after that.
And what's happened also, there's one more thing that's happened, which is that once you've got Travis Head out, okay, if Travis Head is batted 2-3 overs, then you will be tempted to say that I'll throw Akshar, instead of Akshar, I'll throw Washington Sundar and say, let me try an over of Washington Sundar against Head. But once Head is out, who is the other left-hander in your top order?
Yes.
So you don't have a left-hander in your top order, then automatically now you're on the attack, they're on the attack, you're on the defensive. And then when do you throw in, when do you have a chance to throw him in? So then you don't bowl Washington Sundar at all and you have to bowl Abhishek for an over.
Joyda, you're talking about that turning point. It was that partnership between Mitch Marsh and Tim David. We know how Mitch Marsh has been playing, how he's really been the star batter for them. But today, if you look at that partnership, 54 runs from Tim David and 5 from Mitch Marsh.
That shows the kind of day which Tim David has had today. You know, it's just a phenomenal way of, or having a day, like, you know, as a batter, you have someone like Mitch Marsh who's everyone feared of, and he's someone who is in form, but you just overshadowed him completely today. It just was Tim David's day. And I think, you know, when you're looking at Indian bowling, and that's why the questions needs to be asked, is because you could sense that tactically when it comes to bowling today on this pitch under these conditions, you are behind. You didn't have options. And that's what Joyda was also trying to mention, like all the things which you're saying was catering to that one fact that, you know, tactically, when you pick the team, just purely when you're looking at bowlers, you're behind. You have 6 bowling options, but you could only use, I mean, you used Abhishek Sharma as well and Shivam Dubey as well. So you, on paper, still use 6 bowling options. But the main bowling option which you made the tactical change today, conditions didn't allow you to have that confidence in Washington Sundar to be used when Tim David and Stoinis, both destructive, both power hitters batting there. You as a captain were behind, and also you've used Bumrah 3 overs up top. So you have 1 over of Bumrah,
Zach,
2 overs of Arshdeep.
Because like Joyda is saying, you know there's just that one left-hander. So you're bringing in Washington Sundar knowing that there's only one left-hander up top.
And yet not having enough faith or courage because of the conditions. So that's exactly my point. You pick the team, you have your options based on the conditions which are on offer. So having 3 spinners is anyways ahead of the conditions. You have 5 including Abhishek Sharma if you count him as a spinner, which is not going to give you any variety to make the play. When the partnership was happening after the power play, or if one of your spinners is being put under pressure, you know that finger spinners are not going to have that kind of impact on this pitch. The conditions are not favoring that. So you have option in Shivam Dubey to go to as a seam-up option. When he's been put down for runs, you are still continuing with that because you don't have any other option. So if you're making that change in bowling, then Harshit, who has already contributed with the bat, since you're giving batting the emphasis, maybe was a right call. 3 seam options, the 3 genuine seam options is the demand in these conditions. So even if you're planning for the T20 World Cup, even if you're thinking that Bumrah should be used, 3 overs up front, all those kind of things, you still have to tactically make advantage of the conditions and the situation and have that flexibility. You talk about flexibility in batting, being batters, be ready to bat in different positions, different situations. Similarly with bowling, just based on conditions, you have to make these changes and back your individuals to make the impact.
You know, Joyda, Zach is saying that Bumrah was used up top for those 3 overs, which India has been doing. But like he's saying, when you don't have those options, you see the power play and you see the progression, The run rate was 7 something in the power play, but after that, there was no one to fall back on. Our sixth bowler has gone for 56 runs between Shivam Dube and
43 and 13, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. So there are two things. If we also can see that they see the same batting card as us, right? So you know that once Travis Head gets out, your chances of bowling Washington Sundar in that first 12-13 overs is no chance. And after that, to introduce an off-spinner when two set right-handed batters are batting off and power hitters, both power hitters, you're not going to take that chance. So absolutely, Harshit Rana should have been playing this match and he should have been playing it instead of Washington Sundar. There's no doubt at all. And, even if you're trying the three spinners template, yahan to teen khel la do. This is a match to win. It's not as if you can't see the spinners. So that's my point, that I feel the selection gave Surya very little flexibility on the ground.
Yeah. You said Harshit Rana should have played. You've known Kuldeep for very long. Yes, that Washington gives that depth with the bat. But Kuldeep would have been a safer bet knowing that there's just one left-hander.
No, but what he's saying, three fast bowlers, play three fast bowlers. This is Australian conditions, this is Hobart. The conditions here suit three fast bowlers. Bowl three fast bowlers out here. You may not play them in India, but here you can bowl three fast bowlers.
Zach, how much are we missing Hardik Pandya? Because when there's Hardik in, you just know that everything suddenly falls into place. So that's one slot which India is really missing.
Yeah, look, they are giving opportunity to Shivam Dube. Maybe there is a little more time, little more confidence to be shown with him, or opportunities to be given. That's an ongoing process. So I'm saying even if Hardik is there right now in this squad, I would say that you still need three genuine quicks and support bowler in Hardik. Because you're talking about maximizing the conditions, right? Like when you're playing in subcontinent conditions, when you know that, okay, the conditions are going to favor spin bowling at some stage, or they will have some kind of impact. So can we play 3 instead of 2? Or can we play 4 instead of 3? So you are looking to maximize the impact of conditions in your favor. So similarly here in Australia, you know that typically the conditions are going to be in seam bowling favor. So if you have 2 seamers, can you maximize it to 3? If you have 3, can you maximize it to 4? So that's how you have to go. And you can't go by the result. Like, today for all you see, it might be 1-all in the series because Indian batting depth can pull this run chase and then the match will be won. And because the match is won, you are kind of overlooking all these tactical errors which you've committed, which when you're looking at a tournament like World Cup, you can't really do that because, you got to be tactically spot on. And that is where, in isolation, you got to look at things. So if you're looking at bowling in isolations, if you're looking at the conditions on offer, have you made the right calls? I think today the answer is no, because the changes which you've made has not really aided. You've not really maximized that. You've not really given them the opportunity to make the most of it. And that's where you got to be a little concerned about, how you're approaching the team selection.
But also, Zach, like you're saying, India's got that depth in their batting. We know how powerful they can be with the bat. Joyda at Hobart, 177 is the highest runs that have been chased. So India will have to, I know that players don't really look at numbers and records really while they're going in, but they will have to set a record to win this game.
They'll have to set a record. Australia has never lost here. In a T20 match, they haven't lost here, as far as I remember. So 5 out of 5 they've won. So you are in a situation where I think the odds are against us, but none of this data will matter very much. Two batters up front, 1, 2 and 3, get off to a flyer, get 40, 50 runs on the board, and it's a completely different ball game. And he's saying a very relevant point. Zach is saying that, sometimes here what I feel is that the selection decisions which are taken maybe by the selector and coach finally has given the captain less options on the ground.
Absolutely.
And that's what, the captain is the guy who's stuck making the minute-to-minute decisions, which bowler is going to come in next. And I think that's where you've got yourself a problem. And again, as I said, they might just score these runs, but they still haven't done themselves any favors tactically. That's what he said.
Well, like you said, the captain must be exhausted with kind of finding people to get those 20 overs in. But he's going to have to keep that exhaustion aside, and we'll need Sky to come out and fire like he always does, because Zach, we spoke about Sky's form. So he's somebody who will want to come out and take the team home.
Look, the pitch has looked good. I think, no Josh Hazelwood is also going to add to that. you can still chase down this kind of total, but you're going to need that fiery start, and you will need a big partnership. So that is something are going to be the pointers attached to this run chase, and then Surya for sure has got that capability, and especially in the middle phase after the power play, if he's in, then he can really put spinners under pressure there in that phase of the game. So I think Abhishek Sharma, looking at the kind of form he is in, Shubman Gill, the kind of ability he has, Tilak Verma. So you look at that batting. There's enough depth in that batting order to chase down this total, and the conditions have favoured batting. So you can be hopeful about this run chase.
And
you're
also
batting till 8. I mean, if Washington Sundar may come in earlier, but you have genuine bona fide batters till 8. That's a long lineup.
There are batters till 8, Joyda, but who's going to bat where is the question, which I don't think anyone will have answers to.
Yeah, but at least in this case, the captain has the coach also sitting beside him to decide.
Yes.
Except when he's out there, in which case only the coach decides. In the field, he didn't have that option. He was just stuck with the bowlers and wondering what to do.
But will they follow this lineup, or do you see surprises with the batting order being shifted?
No, I think if they move this lineup, what have they done? They're saying that no, we want to move Tilak and Surya back to their normal
3 and
position.
4,
It's
yes.
business as usual. I think that's what they're trying to say. So I hope they stick to that. They don't take any chances. And I think unless they have a 100-run opening stands or something like that, which is completely set, I don't think they're going to change it very fast.
Also, I totally forgot to speak about someone who came in, got selected, got those 3 wickets in. Arshdeep must be feeling, what have I done wrong? I've been sitting out. When I come in, I get those wickets. So he's going to be a very happy man.
I mean, that's the thing which you can control, isn't it?
Yes.
So whenever you get the opportunity, you go out there and you prove that you should be there all the time. And that's what Arshdeep did today.
He came out, Joyda, always so good. First over wicket, second over wicket, and then came out in the death when it's always so tough to bowl and got a wicket again.
No, he's been fantastic. He's the first most successful India T20 bowler, has played the most matches. He's been consistently playing the most matches for us. I think he has all the variety, he has all the weapons. These are tough bowling conditions, especially in a situation where the batters have got off and you've got set batsmen which you're bowling to in the final overs. So I thought he did a pretty decent job of what he did. I think I cannot see with a left-handed bowler, anyway you have an advantage. I cannot see any circumstances in which he is not one of India's top 2 bowlers to be selected. I just do not understand it.
So do we understand what's going to happen with our predictions then? Because we don't understand what's happening with the selection, with the batting order, with the bowling choices.
I think we should ask
You got
Gautam.
it right? 178?
I was 178, so I just missed it by 3 runs.
5-run cushion?
Yes.
Okay.
Not 10 run. Unfortunately, that's the ODIs. So just a 5-run cushion. That's I missed it. Joyda, why don't you go first? Power play score.
I'm going to be optimistic because I have no other way to be. I'm going to go 51.
I'm going to go 47.
I was going to be even more optimistic. 47, 51. I was going to go 55. And be even more optimistic because of the way Abhishek has been batting. Gill is out there with Abhishek Sharma. Let's hope.
Your statement, make it properly. I said Gill is out and I had a heart attack.
The Gill's out there because I think Sanju Samson said there's 1 and 2 which is fixed, that we know that Gill and Abhishek will open. After that, nobody knows what's going to happen. So we know that they've both come out to open. We will be back at the 10 over point. Thank you, Joyda. Thank you, Zach. So do join us at the Cricbuzz Combox. Thank you for watching.